Can I go back to watching Babylon 5, please? You can watch it, Babylon 5, when you finish the review. Fine. Alright everyone, welcome back to another edition of 3 months of Russo. Oh, overall I gotta say, this was a pretty good episode. Now again, it's 3 hours long, it's a lot of stuff to get through, so let's get started, shall we? Okay. Sid is in the production truck. He's trying to get one of the producers to play one of these videos. Then we have the intro there, and good thing and then great. Sid comes out, claims that Goldberg said I quit. It's pretty obvious that he didn't, and he's pretty soon joined by the Outsiders. Then they cut a promo on him saying not much at all, but they're trying to direct his attention at Bret Hart. Bret Hart comes out, gets to the ring. He joins them on stage, doesn't say much. Sorry, again, this is 3 hours of stuff, so there's not a lot to remember. And I would initially say this is a good setup because they don't attack Bret Hart, because I know what's coming later. Bret Hart and the Outsiders, along with Jeff Jarrett, are going to be the new NWO, but I'll get to the problem with that later. So they powder. Goldberg comes in the ring and spears Sid, but guess what? Again, the Goldberg challenges Sid to a match, which will be an I Quit match. Then he also says he's going to play a game of hide and seek with the Outsiders. This will be paid off later in the night, thankfully. Announcers run through the tournament, and they announce that Ming has been hurt, therefore he will not continue on in the tournament, and Sting has now got the bye. Okay, that is not covered in my document that I had. I did not know that Sting had a bye, but what have I? Lex and Liz arrive. Because after an interview with Sting, because it is announced also that Sting will be facing Goldberg later that night. It is also announced sometime later on in the night that there will be a 4-way ladder match, and it will be one of the most useless ladder matches of all time. Okay. Back after the commercial, we see Kimberly is seeking out security because she is absolutely terrified of David Flair. He's going to be stalking her for the rest of the night. I will cover those segments later on. Some of them are really good, some of them are bad, but the best one, I will say right now, I'm not sure how far it happens into the show. David Flair's leaning up against the wall. He's got a beanie on. We don't know it's David Flair initially, but he's leaning up against the wall. He's wearing a security shirt, and he turns around. He gets this look in his eyes like this. It's like, whoa, damn. And, well, yeah, that was pretty cool, I gotta say. That happens a bit later. Yeah, also, throughout the night, we see Kevin Nash getting suited up as the Grand Wizard of Wrestling. He does a couple of skits with that as well. Sorry, just checking. And man, I gotta say, this is pretty lame. It's just designed to poke fun at the wrestling business, designed to poke fun at managers, which I'm sorry to say it's kind of worked because you very rarely see them anymore. Yeah, and he's got his manager's license, but I think it's cut a bit from the show, because, yeah, I think there's more to it. Filthy Animals cut a promo on the Revolution. I thought we were setting up for a match. Cause guess what? This is like all this stuff I'm going through. Barely 15 minutes of the show. And I don't understand the need to rush, to be honest, because it's a 3-hour show. It's okay to breathe. Pretty lame promo, I gotta say. They trade around the mic. Not much going on. Dean Malenko and Asia come out. They challenge Ray and Tori to a match, mixed tag or intergender tag match, whatever. Between the four of them, they accept. Then we have Billy Kidman taking on Normie Smiley in a match that was no one wanted to be a hardcore match. Didn't really end up that way. Brian Knobbs ends up attacking Norman Smiley with a hockey stick because he's dressed as a hockey player that night. I think he's supposed to be one of the wearing the local hockey team jersey, but okay. Kidman wins. He goes on in the tournament. He gets to take on Bret Hart because Bret Hart will take on Saturn later in the night and will win. Sting is still looking for Lex after last week. Liger is hiding in the laundry, it turns out. David Flair is still looking for Kimberly. They'll continue on throughout the night. Nash still... this is the beginning of him dressing up as the Grand Wizard of Wrestling. Sting obviously gets sick of looking for Lex. He comes out, calls him out. Liz comes out instead. Eventually, Lex does come out, but and he attacks him kind of sort of in a way. Then we cut back to David Flair and Kimberly, another segment with them. I don't think this is the one where he turns around, but yeah. I love it. Then we have Medusa versus Chris Benoit. Pretty okay match. I think this is like the third way you can have a match with a woman. He kind of just just lay down, but she fights back, does a pretty alright job. This continues on Russo's look for WCW's version of China, which he's not going to ever find, because he has Asia, he has Medusa, he'll eventually have someone else tonight, the African American version, so we'll go through that. Chris Benoit wins by DQ after, I forget what happens here. I think, Evan Correa just comes out. And there's drama there. See, I didn't even care enough to write it in there. Chavo has an interview with the Powers That Be. He apparently had a battle royal or something on Thunder. Okay. Gives him some Amway products to sell. I don't know what Amway is. This is stupid shit. Mayhem match of the week: the Cat versus Lash LaRue from last week. Then we are shown Jim Duggan cleaning the powers that be's toilet. Why, I don't know. Disco Inferno versus Rick Steiner. Tony Mamaluke, who is known here as Tony Marinara. Why? Okay. Who joins in my commentary? This is a very short match, by the way. It's Rick Steiner versus Disco Inferno for the TV title. So it's a title versus title match. You think there would be some... now, granted, it's the two lowest tier titles, but come on. You could announce, hey, if Disco wins here, he could be walking out with 2 belts. And you could have, like, okay, instantly make this match better. Give it a little bit more time, not a great deal amount of time, but announce it, show a graphic. Hey, Disco Inferno versus Rick Steiner tonight. It's for the TV title. Disco could walk out of here with 2 belts, and Tony Marinara could come on commentary and say, hey, Disco owes me some money. He's organised this match so he can get a pay increase, because he will be holding 2 belts. And again, instead of having Disco freaking out, you can have Tony Marinara on the commentary going, hey, he owes me money, he's promised me he's going to win this match, and if he doesn't, he's going to have to deal with me. You can explain the situation a little bit better instead of having goofball commentary going on and the match just over like that. Like, granted, it's not that quick, but it's over pretty quickly. But there, I made same match, give it a bit of a bigger deal. There, Rick Steiner wins. Nash and Hall still playing up the manager bit in the back. Oh God, we're up to this already. All right. You wanted to do a contest to promote the product so you do the Nitro Girls bit. Okay, the Nitro Girls was put up there that they were supposed to dance during the commercial breaks, because it's a live show and they wanted to give, instead of just having an empty ring there or whatever, you kind of have the bit with them dancing in the ring. Cool. And I don't mind this Divas such thing. I mightn't care for it, but I understand from a production point of view, okay, you want to promote the product, you want to do this contest thing. That's great. Okay. And I know Stacy Keibler is going to be the one that wins, but then we get this segment where there's apparently some infighting with the Nitro Girls. So, okay, as far as I know, all the Nitro Girls were there to show some, to give the audience that's there at the shows something to do, and that maybe have them dance while you're promoting your house show tour or something to do there. That, like, I don't mind that. Okay, it's not like they were always wearing. They were never like in bikinis or anything. They had like longer pants on. Granted, they were a bit tight, but they weren't showing off a great deal amount of skin or anything. Nothing too risque. I'm just saying, I don't care for this, and I don't care for the cat fight thing that happens after. I don't know why the girl that they had, AC Jazz, interrupts. Spice comes out. It's not entertaining to me. I don't care about these people. Fine, you want to give them some of them other roles, that's fine, but I don't care. I really don't care because I know it's not going to, like, some of them are going to end up managing people, fine. They're going to be valets, that's okay. I don't care. Um, Kimberly hiding from David Flair after this. Then the announcers talk about all the other big matches of the night, including the Fatal 4-Way ladder match, announcing, hey, a couple of these guys are going to be wrestling twice. I think all of them ended up wrestling twice. I think Sid had a match, Brett had a match, Scott Hall had a match. I think, yeah, and Goldberg had a match. Okay, now I think I've bookmarked it. I've seen some conflicting things about this. Apparently, this is the 7 debut. Dustin Rhodes gets a work shoot promo. Alright. Now, apparently Dustin and Dusty came up with this, but Dusty ended up getting fired from WCW. I think he comes back towards the end of 2001, in mid-2001, before the thing comes back, February. Before the company was sold. So, and it was supposed to be a thing, but Time Warner were concerned that it would promote child kidnapping. And, okay, fine. So I'm not going to blame Russo for this. I think he was trying. He decided to make the best of a bad situation. So I'm not going to go too far into this. Okay, so obviously, we put a lot of money into this gimmick. We've got to make something out of it. I would, and again, I guess this was one of those things that was like he tried to make the best out of a bad situation, so he did his best. Okay, he cut the gimmick to the end. The outfit looked actually kind of cool for the time. The jacket was like very goth, is very goth and everything. The entrance was coming. I just think, had they just like figured out a different way to promote it or something, that would have been cool. Like, instead of a kid, have it be one of the Nitro girls, like every week, and then have something weird happen to the Nitro girl every night. Like, that's just off the top of my head. Yeah. Then we got another segment between Kimberly and David Flair. Like this week, as opposed to the last couple of weeks, where it was like Revolution and Filthy Animals, this week was definitely David Flair and Kimberly were the things working. And I think, given the limited ability of David Flair to wrestle, I think this was a okay way to work him for this thing. Then we have the Outsiders in the dressing room again. Outsiders at Sid's dressing room. I think this is where they're knocking on the door of Sid. Kevin Nash in this whole get up like the Grand Wizard of Wrestling. Alright. Lex says he has a way to make this up to Sting. Then we have Goldberg versus Sting in a pretty alright for a TV match, like two big stars. Goldberg wins, but this is after Liz accidentally maces Sting. And even though you can tell, like, they picked the worst angle, it's like it's right here, like Goldberg's underneath. Sting's there, sprayed right into his eyes. Uh, Outsiders, they're offering a peace offering. They have a couple of, like, two security guys there, and it's Rick Steiner passes by, says something. Apparently he got power bombed at Thunder. Okay, fair enough. Weird. Then we see Lex. I've wrote here messing with Duggan. He takes one of the slippery when the floor is wet things because he's mopping the floor. Okay. Vince, of all the things you could have thought of for Jim Duggan to do, you have him be a janitor. Okay. Here's an idea off the top of my head that is better than that. Have Duggan still doing the flag waving thing. Lee, like, every week he comes out and he just leads the audience in the Pledge of Allegiance. That's something that everyone loves to do. And yeah, there you go. Automatically better than that. Now, granted, it's not a huge part of the show, but okay, I know you wanted to take him off TV. Liberty's in-ring work, if you're that worried about him, I don't know why you were so worried about taking him off TV. Like, he ended up only working the Saturday night shows after this anyway, and he was eventually let go. Then brought back. Okay. Alright. Then we come back from the commercial thing. Kimberly surprises David Flair. Surprised by David Flair. Surprised by David Flair. Sorry. That's the bit I was telling you about earlier, where he goes, he just looks at her. I think he says something, but I forget what it. So, a pretty cool thing. Vampiro interviewed with the Misfits. I don't know why they were hired. I really don't. I think it was a waste of money. This is another tournament match. Buff Bagwell versus Vampiro. Great idea. Two young guys going at it. Match doesn't actually go too long because the Misfits ambush Bigelow. Then Bagwell ends up winning after Berlin interferes. After the match interferes, he takes Vampiro out with a chain. Again, okay. For some reason, they're building a rivalry up between these two supposedly dark characters, Berlin and Vampiro. The Wall takes out the Misfits. A lot of this happens off screen, but Creative Control take out Berlin as well. For this is supposedly because they don't want Buff to advance in the tournament, and he won't advance much further. Luger supposedly is injured. We get two segments. One of him on the ground holding his knee. The other one, he's on the gurney, still having problems with his knee. We get Saturn versus Bret Hart. Shane Douglas is on headsets. This is a pretty good match, given a decent amount of length. Now, if every match on the card was given roughly about the length of this match, or even a little bit more, not a great deal, I wouldn't have too much of a problem with it, it would be like, okay, fair enough, this works. Yeah. Brett wins by submission. There is interference by just about every member. During the time when Malenko comes out and he's stomping away on Brett, Chris Benoit comes up behind him, starts getting rid of him. That's cool. But Saturn tries to do a sunset flip, gets reversed into the sharpshooter. Pretty cool match all around. Kimberly is looking for help from Creative Control and the powers that be. Turns out that's not going to help. Backstage, Nash does a bit that was on the Johnny Carson show. You may have seen this on a variety of different things. He would wear kind of a turban thing, and he would put an envelope against his head, and he would give the answer, and it would be, he would read the question. It would be really, really funny. Okay. Then we have Lex Luger milking his injury a bit more, and yeah, this is really weird. We know he's working the injury. It's the whole thing is he's pretending to be hurt when he's not. Okay. Yeah, that's really thing. Sometimes I don't know if we're supposed to know that the wrestler can see the camera or not. Okay, it's one of those things. Like, yeah. Then Booker T comes out, cuts a promo on Creative Control and Jeff Jarrett. This is all because his friend, his brother has been suspended for some reason. Now I don't know if this is a work or a shoot. So, okay, we go with that. Booker ends up challenging like Jeff Jarrett and Creative Control to a 3-on-1 match because he's stupid. So yeah, Booker T ends up losing the match, and I think it ends in like a double DQ. This is where we are introduced to Midnight, a big bodybuilder chick, big black African American. I don't know if she actually is a chick, but yeah, really cool chick. Then we have the Rey Mysterio and Tori head in the ring, a Luger interview where he's told if he doesn't compete tonight, he will no longer be part of the tournament. Sting will get advanced straight to, I think, the next match would be the Mayhem matches. Rey Mysterio and Tori versus Malenko and Asia. This is a pretty quick match. Supposedly, Rey was actually injured here. He still wasn't 100%, so I think this is a way to put him off TV for a while. Tori doesn't end up being involved because she's handcuffed to the ring the corner post. Malenko ends up getting Rey in the Texas Cloverleaf. He taps out, and this supposedly injures him a bit more. Another segment with David Flair and Kimberly. Then we have our Sid versus Lex Luger with Elizabeth match. Sting ends up tossing Lex into the ring. Match ends in DQ after Goldberg spears both Luger and Sid. The masked police officers did not help Sid out at all. Okay, and we're never shown who they are. I thought one of them was gonna end up being like that guy that I forget what his name is. He was like Jericho's security guard. He ends up working with Nolan Smiley for a bit a little later on. Then we have a hardcore match that ends in a countout. Alright. This is Brian Knobbs versus Bam Bam Bigelow. Okay, so the match ends like this. They fight to the back. Norman Smiley is doing commentary. Brian Knobbs is getting his butt kicked. Kimberly comes up to Bam Bam and asks him for help. Doesn't say, hang about here and we will do this after the match. No. Or doesn't get a pinfall in the back, and that Brian Knobbs wins by countout because Bam Bam gets taken away by Kimberly. That's the only reason this match ends like this. Really weird. Alright, Bam Bam's looking for David Flair, and we get another quick look at the bracket. We got told the two remaining matches, tournament matches of the night. We have Scott Hall versus Lash LaRue. This is a pretty good match. Scott Hall gave Lash some time. Obviously really wanted to work with him, figure things out. Maybe he thought there was something in him. Everyone was like, oh, Lash LaRue, he's going to be this great star. Never happened. Okay, now I think they were not told, but I think Nash and Hall actually kind of suspected that one of the security guys was Goldberg, and they get the powder in their hands, about to throw it at him. Goldberg turns around, knocks the powder into Nash's eyes. I think some of it gets on Scott Hall. He spears them both after he has revealed himself. So it's pretty good spot, I gotta say. Some of these spots, they kind of knew what was going to happen. You knew what was going to happen, but it was a good setup. We get an update on what's been going on with Kurt Hennig for the past few weeks. Then we have Kurt Hennig versus Jeff Jarrett. It's a pretty good match for as short a time as it is, because it's a TV match, and granted, I know they should be a lot shorter matches. Jarrett wins by countout, and then Jarrett beats up Hennig afterwards. Creative Control were also there. They tried to get Hennig gets put through a table. That's why the match ends in counter. They try to toss him back in the ring for the pin, but it doesn't work out that way. Then, after another commercial break, Kimberly heads to the ring to cut a promo on David Flair, tries to convince him that she's not scared anymore. He comes to the ring, he looks crazy, man. Like, I love crazy David Flair. I think that was like a really good idea. I don't know why they didn't continue that into TNA, have something happen to him where he snaps again. Like, crazy David Flair was always really cool. I think they tried a little bit, but that didn't work. But he gets ambushed by Bam Bam, but doesn't work. He low blows him, because he gets knocked down to the ground, picked up, knocked back to the ground. He low blows him and then hits him with a crowbar. Kimberly retreats through the crowd. David Flair pursues her. Then we come back from another commercial break. It's revealed that she's trying to get to her car. It's a pretty weird segment because it's clear. Like, I'm thinking, okay, there's a woman being pursued by a crazy guy. Why aren't the camera people helping her? Again, if I can think of it, why isn't that happening? Anyway. She gets into her car. A couple of the windows get smashed out by David Flair with a crowbar. He gets on the roof and smashes up the car. And she gets out of the car because Creative Control show up, and yeah, they get through with her. And oh, it's an alright segment and everything, but yeah, again, like, oh, why? The whole thing was, why the camera guys helping her out, and why aren't they saying, hey, that's David Flair? Like, I point out these good things, but yeah. Then we are given the US title, four-corner ladder match. One of the stupidest ladder matches in history. Now, I think there was like a 1 or 2 minute ladder match in TNA. This is not that bad. This is a fairly short match. And let me give you these guys. Bret Hart, Sid Vicious, Scott Hall, and Goldberg. Okay, who are two guys that you would think, well, a ladder match not really their style? Sid Vicious and Goldberg. Scott Hall and Bret Hart, maybe. Why? Okay, now if this had been in like a regular four corners match that ended in DQ or something, okay, fair enough. And the special referee, I forgot to say, is Kevin Nash. Alright. Immediately, here was how I would have done the match. Okay, I have no problem with Kevin Nash being the referee. Made it a regular four corners match. Giving it a little bit longer, maybe a little bit longer. Or kept it roughly about the same amount of time, because the ladder thing barely involved in the match. Goldberg hit Sid a couple of times with the ladder. Fair enough. I would have had Bret and Sid outside. Oh no. Bret and Goldberg fighting outside. Scott Hall, with after a little bit of brawling with Sid inside the ring, manages Kevin Nash, clocks him with something. Pair of brass knuckles, one of those short baseball bats or something, pulled it out his pants or something. There, taking him out, pinned him. Fast count, 1, 2, 3. Middle of the ring. Easy. Easy done. Like, granted, okay, a ladder match might get. I think it's big enough that to have those four guys wrestling in the ring, than just saying, oh, it's a ladder match. It's big enough for four of your biggest stars in the one match at the same time. I'm fighting for a title. Okay. Granted, it kind of may, like, I could have imagined it be, why it was this is because the belt was being transferred around so much. So Scott Hall legitimately is the US champion. Here's how the match actually ended, by the way. Bret climbs up, grabs the belt. Kevin Nash is the referee. He doesn't declare Bret the winner, but he hits him with a baseball bat to the leg. He falls down, supposedly hurt. Has Scott Hall climb the ladder and everything to grab the belt out of his hand, and then declares him the winner. Like, heel move, but you're building up to Bret Hart being the leader of this faction. Okay? That's it. That's it, guys. Overall, despite some questionable stuff, it's not the worst. I guess less than 3 hours I spent. It was just over 2. But still, somebody is going to have me review the rest of these. But I have to recharge my batteries a bit before I get into the next one. This will be loaded up pretty quickly, hopefully. And then somebody, who knows what else he'll get me to review for you. Man, let's hope it's nothing too bad.